Hello everyone, what's going on? It's Nelzetta here, and today I thought I would do something that's a bit more relaxed since I'm like really busy. So I'm taking the time to do something that's, very low stakes, not gonna like take like multiple days or weeks to do. So I'm doing a character tier list here, and I'm gonna rank the DMC characters, the their game appearances are separated, so DMC 1 Dante is going to be separate from DMC 3 Dante and DMC 2 Dante, and etc. Same for all the characters. That's why you have like the DMC 1 Dante art, or like the DMC 4 Trish art, or the DMC 5 Lady art, and all that. So for the characters that appear in multiple games, they'll have like they'll be like ranked separately from like instead of like overall. I think I'll talk about them like separately first, but and then like overall as a character, like okay, how do I like them? So yeah, just be warned that this is my opinion, so I think that's pretty important to know. But I basically like put these in semi order, kind of like in terms of like game order, like release order for the characters. So we're gonna start with the man, the myth, the legend, the legendary Dark Knight, Sparta. So Sparta is a very interesting character because he doesn't really have any lines of dialogue. He doesn't have a voice actor or anything like that, and he doesn't. Well, yeah, he doesn't technically make an appearance during the actual game. So he's very much an enigma. We don't really know about him. We only have word of mouth and rumors of what he's done, and people that have encountered him, like Matier on the island in DMC 2, or the demon world, like the demons and how they resent him. Like they can testify that he existed. Like without them, we wouldn't even have known if this guy even existed at all. Besides Dante and Virgil, of course, they're living proof. But like, if let's say like they didn't exist, like how would we even know if this guy existed? And so, I think that's really part of the charm and like intrigue for Sparta, because it's like I really like video games where they have a character that is like disembodied. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like they're like disembodied, but like you'll hear them all the time at the characters in the game. It's kind of like how in our very own history, like we'll talk about like different historical figures, and like we don't really know what their life was like, since obviously we're in like the future compared to their time. So we don't know like how they lived or anything like that. We just know like what they did, like the historical things that they might have done. And so Sparta's in the same boat. Like he's a very historical type of figure, very like a legendary type of figure, as his name implies, as his title implies. So I don't know. I really like Sparta, honestly, though. And there's also a lot of debate that you can have about him. Like some people think that he's not dead. Some people think he is dead because of the DMC 1 intro. There's a lot of like hot debates about him. Some people might think like, oh, he's like, actually no, never mind. But like, point is like he's a very contentious character in the community. Like people debate about his whereabouts a lot, since even though like DMC 1 is like, oh, Sparta's dead, like the other games kind of imply that maybe he's not dead. Like maybe he's just somewhere around, which is why people are like, okay, well maybe Sparta is around and everything. So I'm going to give him, honestly, I feel like none of these characters are gonna go into dismal tier. Now is he better than characters like Dante? Nah, I'm gonna put him in like 6 skills. Oh yeah, these tiers are like, I'm using like someone else's like tier list. This is like the ranking, like the Devil May Cry 5 style ranking tier list. So just yeah. But so yeah, I think Sparta is very cool. I can't really think of anything that I dislike about him. I just don't think he's my absolute favorite, but I do enjoy him for the mystery. But that is really about all we have for him. But it's part of what makes Sparta Sparta, so it's fine. Next up, we have Ava, and I don't know. I really do like Ava, since obviously she's a very caring mother. She really tried the best that she could to get both Dante and Virgil out of the Sparta family household. It's just really unfortunate that she died before she could save Virgil, which obviously caused his downward spiral into his obsession with power. Besides that, though, we don't really have much personality from her. Like, yeah, she's like a good mother, which, you know, that's great and everything, but we don't really see her interactions with Sparta, or like how she like interacted with her kids, with them like probably causing ruckus all the time when they were little children. Like, we don't really see that. So like, we know she's a good mother, but it's like, okay, well, what is her like character, her personality besides that? Like, how does she interact with other people? And so she gets a savage for being a very great mother, but not quite my favorite, because, you know, she doesn't really have a whole lot of like character interactions that we see. She's honestly, she might be as much of an enigma as Sparta is. Probably less so, but like, yeah, she's not like, we don't really know a lot about her. That's all really. But yeah. Okay, so now we finally get to the man himself, the legendary devil hunter Dante, and this is DMC1 Dante. So we finally get characters that like have character interactions and all that. Finally, Dante I enjoy a lot. He's probably one of my favorite video game characters, or characters in fiction in general. And DMC1 Dante, I'll be honest, he's kind of carried by the contextualization that DMC3 does for him. But even as like a separate character, I think he's cool. Like, when when Trish is talking about the fact that he lost a brother and his mother to like to Mundus, or like a demon, like 20 years ago, like that gives you like some intrigue into like, okay, well, I want to know more about his backstory now. And then like, as a character, you know, it's Dante, you know, you're gonna love him, his cocky attitude, which is a complete front. And actually, I just remembered, they don't have the anime version of Dante here, so I'm gonna bunch that up with DMC1 Dante, since the anime Dante is literally DMC1 Dante, just like a few years later. So I'm gonna like also consider the anime for DMC1, if that's okay with anybody, since the anime Dante is not here. Or like anime Trish and anime Lady, they're also not here. But back on track. So yeah, DMC1 Dante, like, you know, he's the standard for Dante, you know, very cocky, you know, arrogant even. But he under all of that, he's, you know, carrying a lot of trauma and grief. And, you know, I think DMC3 only makes him better, because it's like, you see how immature and reckless Dante was in DMC3, and then you see DMC1 Dante, and so you see how he's like relaxed a lot more, you know, but like he still has like his childish tendencies, mostly stemming from his trauma as a kid. So yeah, I think DMC1 Dante is great, and I also think like he shows more of his humanity here, like with like the speech that he gives to Trish after Griffin is like killed by Mundus, and like he's just more emotional here than I think any other version of Dante. The other versions of Dante tend to not really, like, they definitely show their emotions, but they're kind of stoic about it. They don't really like I don't know, like when DMC3 Dante also, yeah, he also sheds a tear, but like it's like only like shedding a tear, like his facial expression isn't really anything crazy. But DMC1 Dante is like full on like outbursts, like a sob. So he's way more expressive than like the other versions of Dante, I would say, which I think makes him just even better since, like stoic, nonchalant characters are cool and everything, but I also like characters that are able to express their emotions. So, oh yeah, and then the anime. Oh, I was about to rank him, but anime Dante is also really great. I love how it gives us a glimpse into his life after the events of DMC 1. I think the most significant thing about that was his killing of Nilo Angelo, which he didn't even know was Nilo Angelo until it was too late. So I think the anime is really cool, and how it makes Dante just like so bored of everything, and reasonably so, when you're the most powerful, well, arguably the most powerful demon the human race is known to this point. So I like how it shows how boring his life is and how depressing it is, with how he's so lonely, just sitting in the chair at his desk all day, occasionally getting missions to do, and that's really his only source of entertainment and fulfillment in his life. There's not much else he can do. He's like, Dante puts like that extroverted front, but in reality he's a very introverted person, and he's kind of forced to be, because he can't really go to parties, he can't really like socialize with other people, because he's got a bounty on his head as the son of Sparta. So if he's near like anybody that can't really fight for themselves, then it's wraps for them. They're probably gonna die because Dante is there. And like, sure, he can kill the demons very easily, but just his presence alone, like, the demons might be like, oh, we're gonna like harass this person that Dante is near. So that's probably why he does not like socialize with a lot of people besides people like Lady and Trish, because they're very competent devil hunters. If he's talking to like an average person, there's not much they can really do against a demon. And I think that all makes Dante and DMC1 and the anime an SSS tier character. I don't think this was surprising or fooling anybody, but there we go. Now DMC2 Dante. Okay, I think he also benefits from the timeline, where like, when you put it in the perspective that, okay, Dante fought his own brother, and he didn't kill him, but like, he assumed that he killed him with his own hands. Like, when you put that voice crack. When you put that context into DMC2 Dante, he's a much better character, because it's really nice to see a character at their, I mean, well, it's not nice, but like, it's cool to see a character at their lowest. But when you remove that context, he's kind of not really good, because he doesn't have much of Dante's standard like facade of like being cocky and extroverted and cool and all that. He's just always serious, and Dante has his serious moments. He's a very, like, under all that like extrovertedness he puts on, he's a very serious character, but it's just too serious. And like, even Dante himself, I think in one of the novels, he was like saying to Nero to not like take life too seriously. So Dante himself, like, yeah, he's serious, but he's like, part of that facade is also very true. Like, he's not taking life completely seriously. So I think with the context of like the whole timeline, DMC2 Dante is a really awesome like way of seeing like the lowest points of the character, and then DMC4 Dante is like seeing like how he got back into like his usual self. So I'm going to put DMC2 Dante in the badass tier. Not my favorite incarnation of Dante. He really does rely heavily on the context of all the other games, so that's why he's kind of that low. Okay, DMC3 Dante. I don't think this is surprising anybody. It's probably going to be in the same tier, but I really love what they did with this version of Dante, and how they used what DMC 1 gave them in terms of lore and also gameplay, but that's not what we're talking about here. But they used what DMC 1 gave them in terms of lore and made an entire like story about it, which is awesome, by the way. And it really benefits Dante as well, since we get to see his younger self, and you know how like he really did not care about like what was going on, but it's through his journey through the Temenegru and meeting Lady and seeing that, okay, maybe I should give a damn, you know. And I think this is the start of where, like, especially like the ending part of the of DMC3, like this is where that like savior complex starts to begin, because you know Dante wants to, like, he sees him, he's obviously like the strong, again, arguably because of Virgil, he's arguably one of the strongest demons in the modern times. So he sees fighting demons and taking care of evil as his responsibility. In a sense, he's kind of like Spider-Man. I'm not trying to say he is Spider-Man, but just kind of in the aspect of him taking on the responsibility of being, you know, is it unsung? It's not really unnoticed, because I don't think Dante would call him literally, I'm mixing up my words. I don't think Dante would call himself a hero. But like, he takes on this responsibility of protecting not only the people he cares about, but just people in general around his vicinity, because there's not really much he can do if he owns a Devil May Cry business. Like, the other people are gonna like suffer because of it, just because he's the son of Sparta, and just because demons are always gonna be after him. So yeah, I think his character arc is also really well done. I like how, I think my favorite cutscene in DMC3 is when Dante and Lady are like, or when Lady like gets into the room and she's like, "Did you kill my father or whatever?" And then Dante's like, "So what if I did?" And then they have like a whole exchange, and then Dante the whole time, like, he's hearing Lady like vent out her frustrations, but he's just trying to like, I think he's not really paying attention to it, and that's probably because he knows he experienced like a similar thing with like familial trauma, but he's trying to avoid it by just being like standoffish and like arrogant and all that. But what hits him to his core is when Lady says, like, "What would you know about family if you're a demon?" Which, even when I first played the game, like, I was like, damn, that's got a sting. Like, you can literally see Dante himself, like, you can tell that sting, because like he doesn't even say anything for like a good couple of seconds, and like you can see in his facial expression, it's stern now. And then he's like, "Family, huh?" So like you can tell it got to him, and I think that was just brilliantly done, and that was like the start of like Dante's character arc. And it's even worse when, like, you know that like obviously Dante hates his demon half, and it's like, you know, it's both an internal struggle with his with not acknowledging his demon side, but also the struggle of his like humanity, and just like his humanity and like his legacy with Sparta and all that. And so I think that is really awesome. So overall, I think DMC3 Dante gets a SSS tier. And now I think this is above DMC1 Dante. Mostly because of the character arc. So now we have DMC4 Dante, and this is where Dante starts, like, he's basically fully developed at this point. Like, there's not really a lot of character development that you really need for him. Again, with the context of the timeline, this is like fresh out of DMC2, so his silence at the beginning makes sense, but then when he sees Nero and realizes that, hey, this guy could be a relative of mine, that's when he starts talking a lot more, and he's his usual self. And so I think this is a very good incarnation of Dante. DMC 4 in general is just nothing special for him. It's just another Monday for him. It's really nothing special, but he's very like charismatic. He has like that DMC3 Dante energy, but in a more matured song, just like DMC One Dante. Like he's literally a combination of both of those, and I think that's pretty cool. And he's still serious when he needs to be. Like another one of my favorite cutscenes is in DMC4 when Kratos like dying in his arms, and like you have the music or whatever, and Dante's like face is covered by his hair and also just shadows in general. And then like once the music stops, he's like, "I'll do it," in like the most like stoic, stern voice. But then he tries to brush it off and say like, "I don't want to deny anybody their dying requests," but we all know that that struck him, since this is an individual that has dealt with death multiple times. His mother, Nell Goldstein, Virgil, kind of, but that was like of his own interpretation. So yeah, I think that's really cool how they still kept that aspect of his character. So I'm going to put DMC4 Dante in. Honestly, I feel like all of the Dante incarnations go into this tier. It's hard to really say no to all of them, because I really do love Dante. He's absolutely an amazing character. So I think this is also better than DMC1 Dante. But yeah, I think you guys are going to see the bias coming in. Okay, DMC5 Dante. I really love how he treats Nero in this, because it gives like old dad type of vibe. Like obviously Dante's his uncle, but like the two have known each other for years at this point, so Dante is really more of a father figure to Nero than his uncle. So, and I think like his way of communicating to Nero is flawed, and that's what's so intriguing to look at, because like when he's fighting Urizen and trying to get Nero out of there, he's like, get out of here, you're just dead weight. And like he's trying to, and like people like get on that and say like, oh, Dante doesn't care about Nero, like he called him a dead weight. And it's like, no, if you look at it closer, the reason why he did that is because he's trying to get him out of there. It's just that Dante doesn't know how to communicate that, because it's the effect of his own trauma, and like bottling up his emotions. Sometimes like when he's like only like shedding a tear and all of that, like he bottles up his emotions. He doesn't really talk about it with anybody. He just is very stoic and stern. He doesn't like, especially later versions of Dante, they don't try to express their emotions outwardly or try and be vulnerable towards others. And because of that, Dante, I feel like he like when it comes to like communicating with his own family, and also keep in mind like Virgil's been gone for decades by this point, so he hasn't had someone to like have like casual like conversations and like discuss, and like not even discussions, just like casual talking with. And so I think that definitely like hurt. And also again, like he's very lonely, so that isolation, like that's gonna affect how he communicates with others. And so he's very blunt. Like he wasn't trying to come off as like a prick. He was just trying to get Nero out of danger. And it's because of like familial trauma, isolation, that it wasn't really communicated properly. That's my argument for why Dante like said that to Nero, called him deadweight. Which obviously didn't work, because that only made Nero more angry. But yeah, like he doesn't treat Nero seriously. He still thinks it's his responsibility to defeat Urizen, which we've seen before with how he treated Lady. Like it's interesting. I think like when it comes to people that are capable of defeating demons, but probably are not capable of defeating like the biggest demon kings in the demon world, like Nero and Lady, Dante doesn't treat them as an equal. He treats them as if like they're below him. and like it's not out of like it's not that's not like out of hate or like um or like not trusting them. It's out of love because he obviously does care about these people, and since he's really again the only one that can like stop these demons besides Virgil, it really is just his responsibility to like take these people down. Um, and I think that it's really interesting how that just keeps popping up again with Nero and how Dante just doesn't take him seriously for the whole entire game, and even by the end of the game, like he still doesn't take him seriously. So I do kind of. I mean, no. Actually, no, that's not accurate. He does take him seriously because he entrusts him to like take care of the human world, but like he's not. Actually, no, he does take him seriously by the end. Never mind. So yeah, he does experience like a character arc in terms of like in relation to Nero, where like he doesn't trust him to do things because he doesn't view him as like super powerful. But once Nero demonstrates his power, he's like, okay, fine, I'll trust you. I'll leave the demon world to you. I mean, the human world to you. Damn. I was thinking of the two of them like going into the demon world. So yeah, again, I think this is a S tier character, and then obviously we also have like his, typical like cockiness, extrovertedness that he puts a front on, and also the multiple instances of him being more serious, like when he's asking Trish if she's okay and all that, after being in Cavalier Angela. So yeah, I think Dante, again, is this really surprising anybody? I think I like him more than DMC4 Dante. I think DMC4 Dante is gonna be like my least favorite of the Dantes. DMC1 Dante, because like it's not even his fault either, because again it's literally just a walk in the park for him. That mission was not hard at all, but that doesn't mean like I hate DMC4 Dante as a character. Like he's still up here, so obviously that means like he's not the worst written character in the entire series. Okay. Oh yeah, and then DMC2 Dante. Yeah, we don't talk about him. Okay. Now we have Trish. Trish in the first game is pretty cool. She's a part of the narrative that like, some demons do possess the ability to have goodness in their heart. And unfortunately, like with DMC1, like there's not a lot of cutscenes, so you do get like some character from her, like especially in the first cutscene. I think the first cutscene does a lot of wonders for her, and the other cutscene where Dante saves her also does a lot of wonders. But that like in between is kind of just like, oh look at Dante like killing these demons. Wow, he's so strong and powerful. And like, I like how you can see like her like beginning to be like, like just being intrigued by Dante's words when like he's just talking about his father and the humanity he had, when Griffin is killed by Mundus and all that. And then it culminates in the cutscene after defeating Nightmare, where like she's saved, and then she's like, Dante, why did you save my life? And oh yeah, I absolutely love that cutscene. Yeah, I'm gonna actually put this above that because Dante like is so pissed off in that cutscene, and like that's honestly probably one of like the top 10 DMC cutscenes in general, because like it's very rare to see Dante that angry. Like you can tell he was like absolutely livid. Not like livid, but like you can tell like he was very much angry about how lady. I'm getting everybody mixed up. At how Trish betrayed him, because she resembles his mom. So he automatically trusted her because he wanted to fill in that void that he had for so many decades. But yeah, back to Trish. Like, she's a copy of Dante's mom, as we all know, and all that. And she has a very simple character arc. It's very well done though. You know, very solid character. So yeah, I think she'll go on either. Is she above Sparta though? I don't know. She's not one of my favorite characters, but I do like her. Uh, I don't know. I'm going to put her in above. No, above Ava. Is she with Sparta though? I don't know. I don't know. I really like Sparta though. I'll do it. I'll put her above Sparta. I like her character arc. Unfortunately, I think the later versions of Trish are. There's not really much to say about them. She already has her moment in the first game, so she doesn't need any more character development. So DMC4, Trish, similar to Dante, it's just a walk in the park for her. It's nothing crazy. And it's even worse because she's not like one of the main characters like Dante and Nero. She's a background supporting character, so she already doesn't get enough on a lot of that screen time. They also like sexualize the fuck out of her, which in like DMC1 Dante didn't do it. Oh my god, why am I mixing names? DMC1 Trish didn't do that, which I don't really care, but I just think that was interesting how they just started like sexualizing her in this game. I don't really care though. That's fine. You know, flaunt however you want. That's not gonna take away from her. And so it really does suck that she just is kind of a background character now, and like her and Lady, which we're gonna get to later on, like they both just don't really have much of a role in the later games after their character arcs are concluded in the first game. So yeah, I think she's probably gonna go in apocalyptic. Like, cool, she's still cool because it's Trish and like it's after her character arc, but like it's nothing like groundbreaking and incredibly intriguing. And then there's also the anime. Like anime Trish is also cool. It's about the same thing as DMC4 Trish, just like walk in the park. You know, we get to see like her hobbies with shopping and all that, and that's pretty cool. But it ultimately doesn't really change my feelings about the character. She's not the most intriguing character in the world. There's not really much material that the games give you to like really like go in depth with her, unfortunately. And I feel like DMC5 Trish is kind of even worse because, well, let me put this back, because she gets beat by Murizen, which is okay because it's Virgil, and I don't think Lady or Trish are gonna be stronger than Virgil. But then like she's just kind of in like the Cavalier Angelo for like a pretty big majority of the game, and then even after that, you know, what does she do? Like, I feel like you could remove both of them and not much would really change about DMC5's story, unfortunately. So this is gonna be like the first C tier character, just and like the only thing holding her above like Dismal is like the conversation with V. I think that was cool, but like even then there wasn't really much done with that. She was just kind of like, "I'm not your mom, V," and it's like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure he knows that, but he wanted like more like comfort, I guess. He's trying to be vulnerable. So I don't know. I don't really like this version of Trish. I really wish they gave her more to do, and like, yeah, that's really it. Lucia. Honestly, I don't really know what to rank this character because she doesn't. It might actually be Dismal. I know there's some Lucia fans out there, but she just doesn't really click for me. I don't hate her at all. I'm just indifferent. Dismal doesn't mean like I hate. It's just gonna mean like I'm indifferent to the character, and that's how I feel about Lucia. Just not a very interesting character to me. She's like, I do think like her crush on Dante is kind of a cool little thing to have. But yeah, not really a super interesting character to me. I mean, I didn't enjoy DMC 2, so I don't know if this is much of a surprise, but yeah. Um, I don't hate her, I just don't really care for her, so yeah. Next up, we have DMC3 Lady, and I love Lady in this game. I love how she's like very like angry and like rude and like, you know, all that, but it isn't like swearing her ass off like Netflix DMC Lady. Like, what made Lady so cool was not only the fact that she's just badass in general in terms of her combat, but also just like how she like interacts with Dante. Like, she knows like she's a demon when she shoots him, and like he's not like immediately dead. From then on, like, she doesn't treat Dante as a human at all, despite him still being a human. And I think it's very interesting to see how she goes from like hating all demons and like there's no way a demon can possess a human heart to love and care for others, but you know, through Dante she's able to see like, okay, well, let's be more nuanced than that. Let's judge the demons on if they can really have a human heart. Like, if they possess a human heart, then they're fine. If they don't, then not much you can really do there. So yeah, I think I really like these two iterations of the characters because they have a very equal exchange. Like, Dante is able to, it's like his sense of humanity is bolstered by Lady, and then Lady is able to like have more nuance when it comes to dealing with demons, which is really ironic because Dante's humanity being like bolstered and then Lady realizing more things about demons, like that contrast between humanity and devil is like just really cool. Like, that's honestly something I didn't really think about until now. Like, Lady's benefit is seeing demons as also potentially being capable of having a human heart to love another person, and then Dante is being able to, you know, actually care about like the world, and like not just sitting around and saying I'm not gonna do anything because I hate my father. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Honestly, I think she's also gonna like get like a SSS tier. I love Lady as a character and as a design and in gameplay for DMC4, despite what others may say. Better than DMC4 Dante, because that guy's not really interested. Unfortunately, DMC4 Lady, she like, I don't think, does she even appear after like that cutscene where Dante's in like the forest in DMC4? Like, I don't think she even appears. Like, and then in special edition, like for her own campaign, they added the cutscene and like the three of them are like looking at Nero and Kyrie. But like, besides that, like base game, I don't think, besides that one cutscene, I don't think she was in the game at all, which is like dismal. Honestly, I think that's even worse than Lucia. Like, she barely had a presence. This was mostly a Dante and Trish ordeal. Like, they were like doing like most of the heavy lifting. Lady was just not there, and like, I think she like, it's supposed to be like, you know, she was also helping the two of them, but like, we don't really like see that. It's mostly just Dante and Trish. So dismal. Even worse than Lucia, because at least Lucia like actually does stuff. Lady is only really like one cutscene in DMC4. The biggest fall off I've ever seen for a character, unfortunately. And it doesn't really get any better for DMC5 Lady, because similar to Trish, for a big majority, well, not a big majority, but like most of the game, actually, yeah. Most of the game, she was in Artemis, and then like even when they release her, like she has to take like several missions to recuperate, and like she just does nothing. She's like sitting in the van and then drives the van and everything. Like, she doesn't get to be in the action. And then like they do have that really cool moment where like Nero wants to like Nero's like upset and furious about the fact that Virgil is his father. Also, yeah, spoiler warning, I should put that in the beginning, but like Nero being his father and all that. And like I really like how they reference like Arkham in the way that they that like how do I say this? I really like how they reference Arkham because of how like she was like, you know, you'll never be able to like recover from killing your own father, and like I think it's cool because I feel like Dante also knows that, because he's like, I'm sorry, but I can't let you kill your own old man, because he also knows that. Actually, no, he doesn't know that Lady did that, but like, I feel like potential, like headcanon, I feel like potentially Lady probably told him about that at some point. I don't know. That doesn't matter. Point is that like connection to Arkham is really cool. It just doesn't really elevate her much. Better than Trish though, I guess. These two are kind of just on equal footing. It doesn't really matter which is better. Okay, now we get to the meaty stuff. The second son of Sparta, Virgil. DMC 3 Virgil is really cool. You know, he's trying to look all stoic and all like cool and everything, but similar to Dante, like that's a facade. He's struggling with his own trauma and being left behind, at least from what he can understand. He doesn't know that Ava tried to save him, of course, but he's dealing with that trauma, and you know, it's making him want to like never be weak again. And like, I like to think that initially Virgil wanted power to protect himself, but also potentially even Dante and Ava. But unfortunately, like, it just got more and more out of control the more he learned about his demon heritage, you know. And he's probably been studying about his demon heritage, because you can see him in the library in the special edition for DMC3 until Arkham comes up to him. So he's definitely been learning about his demon heritage and all that. And like, he commits so many atrocities because of it. And it's like, then we get to DMC3 and he tries to just like, he tries to completely cut off his human emotions. He tries to neglect them completely. But then it's, when it comes to like the end of the game, like, I feel like that last part where Virgil slices Dante's hand, that was like the last shred of humanity he had. That was the last time he did something out of care for another person. You know, maybe it wasn't in like a very like endearing type of way, but at the end of the day, it was done because Virgil does care about Dante. You know, he's really the only other family he has, besides Ava, and Ava's dead. So what can he really do? And yeah, I think that that's really cool. How, like, you know, you could also say like, oh, Virgil doesn't care about Dante, and Dante doesn't care about Virgil, but no, I feel like that's just incorrect, because just off of like interpretation of the cutscenes, like, Dante obviously cares about Virgil, and Virgil cares about Dante. They care about each other, they just don't show it. Especially to each other, because they want to fight. That's the main thing that draws them together. Fighting. They don't, like, they care about each other, but they don't put that to the forefront. Their most important thing for each other is fighting, because only, like, since everybody else, every other demon is like weaker than them, they're literally the only two that can match each other's strength. Even Nero could probably actually potentially match them, but like, they're like complete equals, and they've been fighting for a very long time. So yeah, I think Virgil is a very cool character in DMC3. I love how complicated, like, nuanced he is, because it's like, he really is kind of a prick, but it's like stemming from from trauma, and it's reasonable that like it's reasonable that like he began to like resent Dante, kind of, yeah, like he kind of resented Dante because it's like she saved you but not me, but like he doesn't know. Well, he kind of just doesn't even know or recall that like Ava tried to save him, but unfortunately was killed before she could get to him. And so it just Virgil and Dante both just bring this question of like he said in DMC5, like what if their positions were switched, or what if something slightly different happened? What if Sparta was there to protect them? What if Ava was actually able to rescue Virgil and get both of them to safety? How would things have turned out different? There's so many interesting things to think of when it comes to these two and their trauma and how it affects them in the future. It's really, really great. Amazing writing. He gets another like SS tier. I don't like him as much as Dante, but I think I like him more than DMC4 Dante. And he also does still have humanity because like, at least with Dante, like he jokes with him, like he's really the only one that can clap back at Dante's like insults and arrogance. He's like the only one that can clap back at it. And so I think that demonstrates his humanity, despite how much he tries to hide it. Okay, and then DMC, oh yeah, they don't have the other, like, I'm not gonna count Neil of Angelo because like he doesn't talk, he's just a mindless soldier of Mundus, so like there's not really much to analyze there. Now Virgil in DMC5, I don't entirely like how they're trying to like redeem him in DMC5 when like okay, no, I don't think that's accurate, because like I feel like that whole redemption thing kind of came from like the fans, where like he's among like the crew now with Dante, Trish, Lady, Nero, and all that. And, like even official artwork kind of depicted it, like him just being among the crew, and like despite how many people he's killed, just being forgiven for all of it. I don't know. I don't think that should be forgiven. So yeah, like at the end of the day, like it's still Virgil. Like, he can atone, like, and then yeah, there's also V. Like he still like hides his human half, because despite V like being very vulnerable and like being very like recognizing of like what he's done, Virgil, like the only thing he says is like thank you, Nero, but like he I don't know, he still embraces his demon half more than his human half. We don't really see him like show like that like remorseful side that V has in him, and it's like at the end of the day, like he still seems the same way that he was in DMC3, just older and more powerful. And so that's why I don't really like the redemption sides of it. And he doesn't really seem to have changed a whole lot, despite the V thing. So I'm gonna put him in this tier. Probably better than Trish. Actually, no. I think I like Trish more. DMC1 Trish more than DMC5 Virgil, probably. And that wraps up Virgil. Next we have Arkham. Arkham. I think Arkham is great. I love how like cunning he is, and I love that duology between appearing as a calm, stoic person when around Virgil, but then an absolute clown and like energetic and chaotic person when with Dante. Again, it like highlights that contrast between their personalities and how Dante is typically seen as the more extroverted one. Also, one thing I forgot to mention about Dante, I hate that misconception that, oh, Dante's stupid. He's not. This guy's not. That's like its own topic, but Dante's not stupid. Anyway, Arkham. So yeah, I like Arkham a whole lot. I like how cunning he is, and I like how he's very manipulative. He really is a piece of crap father, though, and that's what makes him an interesting villain. I do wish we got to see more of like his life with Lady and her mother, because we don't really see her mother at all, and like we know that like what he's done, like he basically used Lady's mother because she was a descendant, like I think like was it a priestess or a maiden? I don't know which word it was, but like regardless, she's a descendant of someone that Sparta like had used for, I think, the Temenegulu. I forgot. I think it was a Temenegulu, but regardless, yeah, it was to seal off the demon world with like the portal that like Virgil was trying to open with his own blood, but like he didn't have Lady's blood. Yeah. So yeah, I wish that like more of that was kind of like more of his backstory with, and like his interactions with like Lady back then was given. I think Netflix DMC kind of gave a glimpse into that, but it's like it's Netflix DMC, so it's like who cares? But yeah, very cool villain. I like how and I really like, actually, yeah, I really like how, despite these two being the same character, I love how completely different they are. Because like even on a first playthrough, I didn't process that like those two are the same characters. Even in the cutscene where like Dante, Lady, and Virgil are all in the same room, and like the camera was like swapping between the two of them, I still didn't process it for some reason. I don't know why, and I think that like it works in favor of Arkham, and it makes him an even better villain, because it's like he even tricks you as a player into thinking like it's two different people, but no, it's literally the same person, just an alter ego. So yeah, he's not like my favorite character. Like I don't think I want to put him above Ava, but like yeah. And then Jester has like basically the same thing. I really love how funny he is. He's like, I'll die, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty obvious. But yeah, I like how funny he is. So, and I like the butt spanking and all that. I like how expressive he is in this form. He gets the same tier as regular Arkham. I wouldn't put them above Ava though. Yeah, I wouldn't put them above Ava. Alright, now we're getting into DMC 4 Nero. And I like Nero. I like how he has aspects of Dante and Virgil. But I like how he also is still his own, excuse me, he's still his own character. I like how emotional he is. I know like people are like people back in 2008 especially, like, oh, why is he so emotional, he's so whiny and this and that, but like I think these type of characters are great because, you know, obviously like more stoic characters are always cool, and seeing how they're unfazed by literally anything, like Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but like seeing emotional characters is also really great because it's like they show like their humanity, like, you know, especially because people are like typically like nonchalant people, but like I find nonchalant people to be kind of boring, so I think Nero is definitely a nice breath of fresh air. It is kind of annoying how he's like Kira, and it's like yeah, that's her name, all right. But I do like how he changes. I like how he's like really I like how he's like really like how he's like really angry at Dante, and then like it's only until like he's like Dante's like, you know what, you can keep the Yamato, you know, and then he's like, maybe I shouldn't hate on this guy, maybe he's actually kind of cool. And I like how he's like kind of like a son to Dante. I really love the dynamic between Dante and Nero. Even in DMC 4, like they just give such father and son type energy, and it's exemplified even more by DMC5 Nero. I love it. I love that energy so much. So yeah, he's gonna be honestly. I feel like the main cast is all getting like this upper echelon. I think I like him more than Virgil too. Yeah. DMC5 Nero, like, he's interesting. Definitely interesting. I like how he's presented as the underdog, and like people underestimate the hell out of him. Like V underestimates him, Dante underestimates him, Virgil underestimates him. Everyone around him is kind of just mean to him because they're like, in their eyes, he's, even though he's like what, like 20 years old, and like he's probably been hunting demons for a couple of years by this point, they still view him as a little kid, you know? They don't want him to experience the same troubles that they have. Nero is very lucky to not have that same excruciating trauma that these other characters have. Like, sure, like Virgil wasn't present, and like his mother, like he doesn't know his mother, but he has Credo and Kyrie, and like, you know, sure, he lost Credo, but he still has Kyrie, and like he still has Dante. He still has people that he cares about. Dante has Nero, of course, but for a long time he had nobody else that he cared about besides Lady and Trish, and they would go off to do their own thing, so he had like nobody to really bond with and talk to. Nero is very lucky to like not have that such baggage to him like Dante has had in his whole entire life, whereas Virgil has experienced when he gets corrupted and like is forced into this absolutely horrendous servitude to Moondus, and then like how that affects him and how he's just gone from the human world for so long. It's just, I mean, like, I don't know, like it makes sense why the other characters like view him as like a little baby kind of when they have so much baggage to themselves. So yeah, I think DMC5 Nero gets 6 kills. I think I like him more than Trish. I don't think he's like, wait, actually no, actually wait, do I like DMC4 Nero more? I think I like DMC4 Nero more, actually, in terms of both story and gameplay. Oh yeah, I also have like this guy here. I don't know why he's here. This is like the soldier from like one of the first early game missions in DMC5. Like, I don't know why he's here. I'm not gonna rank him because he's not really that important. Oh yeah, Patty. And this is the anime Patty based on the image. I think Patty is cool. Like, I like how people like to think of her as like Dante's daughter. Like Nero is like Dante's son and Patty's just Dante's daughter, because I really do like their chemistry. I like how Dante kind of sees her as like a spoiled brat, but he eventually like warms up to her much more throughout the anime. So yeah, I think Patty's just a really like inoffensive, cool character. I like the reference they gave her in DMC5 and how Dante's just still turning her down. And then that's another thing, people are like, Dante does not care about Patty. He hates Patty, and it's like, no, you have to acknowledge the fact that this is Dante, and like if he's around other people, especially someone that he cares about, it's unfortunately just not gonna work out. They're gonna be in danger. Demons are gonna run amok and try and like kill them. And there's been multiple sources where like Dante's like, you know, maybe I should go to Patty's birthday party sometime. So he's very considerate. I don't like that narrative that people paint that, oh, Dante hates Patty, when he doesn't. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in a popular take. Cool character, just inoffensive, cool, nothing more to be said. Oh yeah, Agnes. I think Agnes is a very unique villain in this game. I really like his stutter, and I'm sorry, I was just thinking of someone else that I know that's named Agnes, and I was like, wow, that's weird to say, but Agnes is a really cool villain. Again, I like his stutter and I like his scheming and I like how annoying he is, honestly, with the way that he moves. Like, he's really creepy. He's and like he's also kind of a prick. Like, cause this is Nico's father, by the way. um, so he's very much kind of a prick. And he's just very weird and like you don't feel bad for his death because he's very annoying. Um, that's really all I really have for him. I don't really pay attention to Agnes as a character that much, so yeah, I'll put him like badass. Like, he's cool. Not better than DMC2 Dante probably. Actually, maybe he is. I don't know. He's okay. Krato's cool. You don't really get. I don't think we really get much characterization from him besides the fact that it's like loyal to, well, initially loyal to the Order of the Sword and like Sanctus and like, you know, but he's not blind to that. Like, he's going to resist if like someone that he cares about, aka his sister, is in trouble. But like you don't, and like you do get like some interaction with Nero and how he's like, and how like he's kind of like ordering Nero around. But I wish we got more of like his dynamic with his sister and Nero, because you don't really see the two siblings talk to each other that much in DMC4. So I think more interactions between the two would have been really nice to see another side of Kratos. But as he is, he's just another like pretty standard character, you know, nothing crazy. I think I like Patty more still, just with her dynamic with Dante. So I think I do like him more than Agnes at the very least. Kyrie, yeah. Kyrie is kind of unfortunate because it's so abundantly clear that she really only exists to be the love interest of Nero, and she's not even seen in DMC5. She's completely sidelined in that game. DMC4 Kyrie doesn't really have much to her. She's kind of just a damsel in distress, you know, the typical trope. Not really much to her. She's just there for Nero to save. That's really my only problem with her, or not with her. Like, it's not really a her problem. It's more like just a narrative problem. Like, they should have just given her more of a personality, made her like talk more often, because she is like this like submissive, like just quiet type of character. It's like, no, like it would have been cool if she like talked more with Nero and Kratos and all that. Like, she doesn't really have much personality to her, so I don't want to say do I want to say dismal? It might actually just be dismal, because it's like it's literally just white bread. There's not much they give her. I'm gonna say dismal, unfortunately. Yeah, these two are kind of tied because they both just don't have much relevance in DMC4, and then it's actually, I think Kyrie is even worse, because if we account like DMC5, like she does literally nothing. Or, well, that's not, doing literally nothing isn't a bad thing, because like she's a human character and like she doesn't have like superpowers and like and she's doesn't have like expertise like Lady and Trish, but like she's just, it's just so clear that she's really only there for Nero to have a romantic interest in, which is kind of unfortunate. Okay, Sanctus. Yep, Sanctus is also not really anything crazy. It's just the typical like, the church is bad secretly though, because they don't really show it out in the public. He's really not anything special. He's not very interesting. He's really just that trope to a T. You know, I guess like his lust for power, similar to Virgil and other people that just want the power of Sparta so much, is what makes him interesting, kind of. But there's a lot of other characters that, and characters and villains that do that. So what point is there really? Uh, I guess I can put him above these. Like he's just barely climbing out of Dismal. There's not really much to him. Nico. Nico's great. I like Nico. This is like, I feel like Nico is how you handle like a side character similar to like Kyrie. Like, this is what I want. I want Kyrie to be like DMC4. Obviously, like, Nico's personality is completely different. I'm not saying that she has to be like Nico. I'm saying like Kyrie should have just been more expressive in DMC4. Like, Nico is very expressive, and I love her dynamic with Nero because it's very like sibling type of energy. Like her bickering and banter with Nero is just so like sibling or like best friends type of energy. It's so good. I love it. I'm gonna give her like 6 skills. Yeah, probably like right here. Yeah. And then Morrison. Yeah, I like Morrison. He's pretty cool. He's not a crazy character. He's not really meant to be like anything too crazy. So it's ironic that I'm putting him in the crazy tier, but that's really where he is. I'm gonna put him above these people because he, at the end of the day, he still is like pretty cool. He has a lot of personality to him. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about him, unfortunately. Okay, V. I hate this guy in gameplay, but story-wise, I do like how we get like a different side of Virgil. Yeah, I do think like the whole like, oh, my time is running out kind of stick is just kind of repetitive and annoying a little bit. But I do like how he's a more vulnerable side of Virgil. He's probably gonna get a apocalyptic tier. I don't think he's, yeah, he's better than Patty. Probably better than DMC4 Trish as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, Years in. Yeah, I don't know why Years in here is here, but then we have Griffin. Griffin's also pretty cool. There's not really much to say about him. I like how they're loyal to V, and I like how they're like, I like how they like by the end they intentionally don't like go back into Virgil, because they're like, you know, what's the point? Like, we would be reminding him of his time as Nilo Angelo, which I think is really cool. But besides from that, like, he's really the only one that talks out of the group. The other two are just, you know, speechless. They don't really talk. Griffin has a lot of personality and charm to him, and he's a joke cracker and all that. So he's cool. We'll put him in badass. Probably better than DMC2 Dante. Okay, and then lastly we have Urizen. Urizen's, he's also just not anything crazy to me. He's cool. I think what's carrying him is like that cutscene when in the elusive world of their home, him and Dante's home. Actually, there is one thing that I really like about Urizen, and I like how, because Virgil, we obviously know like he embraces his demon half compared to his human half, and I like how his human half is very weak and small and human size as a result of it, while his demon half is this absolutely massive Goliath of a beast. I like that contrast a lot, but aside from that, I don't really feel much of Urizen. He's cool, I guess. You know, he's kind of just a standard demon king for the characters to fight. I don't really feel much about him. Yeah, I guess like he's better than all of these. I don't know. And this guy, I don't know where to put him. He doesn't matter, so I'm not gonna rank him. But that is all of the characters of Devil May Cry ranked. I actually might like swap things around after I finish, like after like hit stop on the record button. Like I'll look at it and like swap things around, and I'll show the final list. So yeah, this is what it's looking like right now, but some things might change before, but some things might not. But yeah, this is pretty fun to talk about. I love all of these characters, obviously some more than others, but yeah, hope you all enjoyed this very long video, 1 hour 1 hour and 10 minutes. But yeah, very long video. It was fun ranking these characters, and I'll probably rank the games next time. Who knows? But I'll see you all next time, and ciao. Alright, hello everyone. Again, this is Nelzetta, and I'm making this like very quick segment, just to like, cause like I made some small little changes to the list. So first things first, I moved DMC for Trish down a bit, since like, yeah, like she does do like more, since like Gloria is the same character as, you know, Trish and all that. But ultimately, like, I don't think she, like, I don't know. I just don't think she's deserving of this here when she's more of a side character still. And like, we don't even get that much screen time with Gloria a whole lot when she's Gloria, and even as herself, she still doesn't get a lot of screen time. And then I also wanted to talk more about Arkham a bit, since I didn't really like, I kind of just glossed over him in the original thing. So the reason why I like Arkham as a villain is because he's like this penultimate example of what power can do to a person. So, you know, he literally sacrificed everybody around him just for the sake of power. He sacrificed his wife. He sacrificed, not really sacrificed, but he he uses people as tools, basically, if not sacrifice. So he uses Lady as a tool to get what he wants, the power of Sparta and all that. And so like, he's like completely cut off from human emotions or anything like that. Like, he does not care. He even goes as far as to manipulate like Lady into wanting to kill Virgil, as if like he was like the victim all along, like he was possessed, as if like Virgil had like mind possession powers or something like that. He really is just kind of like the worst of the worst when it comes to like human characters. Like, he puts that theme of how there are humans out there that could be potentially just as bad, if not worse, as a demon in this series. And so that's why I like him as a villain. And I also like how like he feels like, if you're like playing the game for the first time, like, you also might fall for his schemes and tricks, like when he's manipulating Lady into wanting to kill Virgil, or like, you know, again, like with Jester, like the cutscene when all of the characters are there in the Timinagru and all that. I think he is pretty well done as a villain. So yeah, that's why I like Arkham. Sorry that I glossed over it so much. And then I also wanted to talk about Lady in the anime, since I didn't really talk about that. I like Lady in the anime. I like how both her and Trish, you know, like, I like how they interact, and I like how, you know, they fight, like they're fighting each other, but like this whole time Lady doesn't know that like Trish is like someone that Dante knows. So she's just going under like the assumption that like, hey, she's probably like a bad person or something like that. But like when she like when Dante like comes into like the, I think like the cathedral or whatever, like she's all like chill, and like they both become like friends by the end. So I think that's pretty cool. And I also like how they get to like do their own thing. Because, you know, if you're gonna make these two side characters and have them wrap up their own character arcs, you might as well have them do their own thing. You know, whether it be like in Dante's missions, like in DMC4, like, I don't know, maybe have them fight somebody like a demon king, or like just someone in the Order of the Sword. Just have them do something. I don't want them to just stand around and do nothing. Or in DMC5, I don't know, have them also do something. You know, they just don't really have much major roles, but you could give them one even as side characters. So yeah, but yeah, this is the final rank. I guess I'll put this guy up here. I don't know. Let's put him in. No, I'm kidding. I'm not even. I'm not gonna rank him. I don't care about this guy. But that is the final ranking of all the Devil May Cry characters. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.